Good morning, Karu, Nikki, and Randy. If you're there, Randy. And I wouldn't blame you if you weren't. It's 5:20, 5:22 on Friday, June 8th, and I am back in Pendleton. We arrived back in Pendleton about 36 hours ago, I slept really well the first night, and I slept pretty well last night, but I woke up at 4 o'clock, and I'm still messed up on my time a little bit, so I've been up for about, I don't know, I actually got out of bed about 15-20 minutes ago. And Nikki, I watched your video, your most recent video, which I can only assume you posted somewhat after you actually made the video, because it looks like it's a few days old, which is fine. So yeah, we made it home the last few days of the trip. So we were on a roll there where we showed up on Friday, the last Friday of May, I guess, and then we basically were shooting 3 or 4 videos, visiting 3 or 4 sites a day until what day? It must have been like Monday of the Queen's Jubilee, which would be the first Monday in June. That'd be right. And then that day was kind of the last day, so it ended up being either Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So that's 11 days of pretty much going fly out. And that last Monday, we actually the Friday, obviously that Friday night, we went to Chester and then to Dinas Bran, the first castle we went to see where we climbed up there. And then that last Friday, actually, we went to Tintern, or that last Monday, we went to Tintern Abbey and then Chepstow Castle. And that was really kind of the end of our tour, and it just kind of ended there, because then we went, and there was a friend of ours named Rachel who we knew when we lived in Belize, and she was British, worked for the Overseas Development Organization, ODA Association, and lived in Punta Gorda, and we ended up hanging out with her every day. She and Sarah became pretty close friends. Actually taught a sociology class at University College of Belize together, and I don't know, so we hadn't seen her in 14 years. She lived in Bristol, so we went down and spent the afternoon of that Monday and then Tuesday morning with her and her 2 kids, and saw her husband briefly. He's marking papers end of term. He teaches at a college in Bristol, and so and then we headed up, and basically then we needed to hightail it north, and we needed to get back to Manchester. So we went to we actually spent the night in Shrewsbury. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Brother Cadfael Mysteries by Ellis Peters, but we went and spent the night in Shrewsbury, and we actually went to the Abbey of St. Peter and St. Paul, and I guess we made a video of that, although there wasn't much to it. And then we got up the next morning and drove up to Manchester City, and hopped on the plane and flew home. And basically that day, that was Wednesday, and we were up for 24 hours because we got up early, left Shrewsbury, and got to Manchester. Man City just won the Premier League, woohoo! And then we were traveling, and we ended up arriving here in Pendleton at about 8:45 the same night that we left. Of course, there was an 8 hours tacked onto that, so that's why it was pretty much 24 hours traveling. We didn't sleep at all on the flight. So the guy here crashed, and then I got up yesterday morning and I went to work because I was awake, the time lag, whatever. So I got up and I went and worked out, and I found out that I lost 5 pounds on this trip, which is kind of weird because I ate a ton of food. I think it's because, I talk about how Sarah and Gareth and actually Bryn, when she's home, all like to bake, and I eat their baking if they make cookies. And there's, like, right now out there that Gareth made a bunch of pan cookies yesterday, which I haven't touched and I'm not going to, but just the walking every day and eating, I lost some weight. I'm like completely rambling here. You guys don't want all the details of this. Anyway, yesterday I worked, and then while we were gone, I'm the captain of a rec league soccer team that we're having the first Pendleton adult rec league soccer since I've lived here. So it's in 10 years, this is the first time they've had adult rec league. and we have 4 teams. We're playing small-sided, and so we had they had their first practice, I guess, last Sunday in Gareth, and so Gareth and Sarah are both playing, and actually our team consists of, it's actually really cool. It's me and Gareth and Sarah, and one of Gareth's friends, Riley, and his mom, Sherry, who are good friends of ours. And then Brent Hall, who Carew you met when you were here, the lawyer for the tribe, and then a bunch of high school kids, 3 girls who in the high school team, and a graduating senior named Tanner. And so we went out and we actually just scrimmaged with another team that Jill Gregg, who's the executive director of the Children's Museum, is the captain of. And although Jill couldn't play because she's got a baby and it was cold and rainy, and she was on baby duty. So we had a really good time, and actually it was really fun. It was like low key and just and it was a mix. And like the other team had this girl who I've played around with or coached, and I coached her brother as well, and her 2 parents, and then another mix of high school and adults. And it was the first time I've ever played in a league that had like families on teams, and it was just amazingly cool. It was just really fun. It was low key, but everybody was having fun. It was competitive enough so that we were all going hard, but at the same time not I don't know, it was just really a blast. And I'm really looking forward to the season now, because it's when I played Rec League before, it's never been like that. It's always been a bunch of unrelated people who are playing, and this was like it was a real family activity. And the the high school kids were all great. I mean, just really fun kids, and there was none of this feeling of cliquishness, and the good people and the bad people are playing. And like Sherry and Sarah have well, Sherry's played a little bit of soccer, but Sarah's never played before. So yeah, it was just a blast. Maybe sometime when we're playing a game, we'll come out and take a video. Yeah, now Nikki, there's a whole bunch of things here I wanted to respond to in your video. But before I do that, I wanted to say something to Carew. Carew, I'll talk to you very briefly. I'm going to probably talk to you sometime soon again, but I want to see video of your shop and the remodel you guys are doing, the steampunk theme. I think it's very cool. And say hi to Allison and Sherry for me there, and tell them that they better look good, or I'm going to come put the hurt on them, because I know that you can make it look good. Anyway, Nikki, British breakfast. Yeah, actually, I'm like thinking I want a British breakfast right now, but it's not going to happen. No back bacon. And actually, it's really weird, because I've always hated tomatoes, and I'm starting to really like tomatoes. And actually, when they first gave me the fried tomato on my plate, I kind of ate it out of a feeling of responsibility or obligation. Not now. I'm all over it. Like, the tomato was good. The blood pudding, I don't know if I talked to you about it, the black pudding, I guess, is what they call it. And it was, yeah, I've never had haggis, and I'm not sure, and I was a little bit disconcerted by the black pudding. I ate it all, but it was just too rich, and it had that sort of rich earthiness to it that just felt like I was eating something unwholesome. I don't know how to explain it, but it did bother me a little bit. But like I said, I ate the whole thing. The texture was not good either. It was this kind of bizarre texture. You talk about feeding kids when you're on travel. I mean, actually, it was amazing traveling, just Sarah and I, because this is really the first time we've done that. I mean, we've taken a couple little trips. Actually, we've taken several little kind of weekend-long trips over the last few years. But going somewhere where you don't have to worry about food for the kids is really nice. A really kind of freeing thing. You were talking about me saying Sarah should feel bad. Sarah should feel bad. I mean, I have spent my entire life trailing around after her, doing what she wants, supporting her. And what has she done? She sits around eating bonbons, making up stories, playing with the kids. I mean, baking. I mean, what does she do, really? I have done all the work in our relationship, and I think it's about time she recognized that. Driving and navigation. Actually, and speaking of doing all the work in a relationship, I mean, driving, I think for couples, driving in unfamiliar places is one of the most stressful interactions that they go through. And if you want to talk about fights, actually, you talked about a few places where you had problems driving in Scotland, Nikki, and Carnarvon for us was the place where we got lost, and actually Sarah's a really good navigator. I mean, she's completely anal about it, and she did a really good job telling me where to go most of the time. Yes, double entendre intended. But when we got to Carnarvon, I'm looking at the map and I'm like, I know where we're supposed to go. At least I thought I did, but she's usually right and I'm usually wrong, so I was like completely following her. and we ended up going like 3 or 4 other places before we finally, and it was like right where we were going the first time, and she had me turn right instead of keeping going straight, and I was like, and then turn around and go back, and roundabouts and one-way streets and narrow places where the car barely fits through, and I gotta say that I feel for Mike, because when I'm driving, one of the things I hate more than anything when Sarah drives is that she becomes indecisive and slows way down, and that's like when accidents happen. So what you've got to do is you've got to choose what you're going to do and do it decisively, and that means sometimes going fast. And then if you make a mistake, you decisively stop and turn around and go back and fix that mistake. But you don't lollygag along and go, oh, where am I going? I'm going left, I'm going right. Especially in a roundabout. Roundabouts, you got to get through those things. You don't want to slow down, it screws everybody up. So multiple times we went around roundabouts 2 or 3, well, not 2 or 3 times, probably twice on several occasions, because we missed our turn. And but I was much happier missing the turn but going at a reasonable speed and coming around again. And that's a great thing about roundabouts. It's like it's an infinite number of second chances. What could be better? What are we talking about? No sleep crap. Oh, sheep crap. Sheep crap. Yes, you didn't have any sheep crap. I gotta say, the sheep crap was, both Sarah and I stepped in it on various occasions, because you try to avoid it, but as soon as you look up at something, so you're either just watching your feet the whole time to avoid the sheep crap, or you look up to actually see the scenery, and you stand in it. Those are your 2 choices. So it was kind of annoying, but it wasn't that bad. I enjoyed your tour de Corvallis from the hill. Actually, I'm really digging your new video, and I don't know how you're doing that, if you've got a new camera or if you're turning the iPad 90 degrees. But I'm happy with those new videos. It warms, it satisfies my aspect biases. Jogging is a social activity. I gotta tell you, Nikki, I've got a friend here in town, Maura O'Daniel, and her husband Scott is a guy I work with, and I consider them some of our best friends in town here. And Maura is a fitness Nazi, in a good way, and she used to like work out like 4 hours a day or something, and she's really into reading up on what's healthy and everything. Well, recently she started doing walking instead of any other form of working out. So she walks a ton, and she's got all these low impact exercises that you can do. But basically for cardio stuff, all she does is walk, and she walks fast, but not super fast. And she's done speed walking competitions before, and I think she's pretty competitive about that sort of thing. But she always says walking is the best way to do that. So it's a low impact, it's better than running. And I gotta say, like I said, I lost 5 pounds when we were in Wales, and I think part of it was eating the baked things, but also a big part of it was just we were walking all the time. We walked everywhere, and we walked up and down hills and climbing steps, and walking. You should just go for walks, and it takes longer. It's more relaxing, I think, but you burn the calories, you get the cardio work, especially if you're walking up hills and stuff. Walk, don't run. Running's bad for you, unless you're playing soccer. Unless something's chasing you or you're chasing something, you shouldn't be running. That's my philosophy. Laser hair removal. I've got 2 words for you, but I'm not going to say them in polite company. Some people find the manliness of my hair attractive. And if you don't like it, Nikki, well, thank God you're not within close proximity of me, because I consider it a blessing, not a curse. And if, you're not happy with the way God made you, that's the problem with you, not God. Just remember that. In life and in general, the problem is you, not God. And if you're going to use lasers to remove the hair on your chest, the problem is you, not God. I guess now I've made you you're going to hell, Nikki. Weather. God, what is the deal with the cold, rainy weather here? Yesterday it rained most of the day here. I think it's like 45 degrees right now. But the weather was much nicer in Wales. Anyway, this is getting long. I'll see if it'll upload, even though it's way too long. Until I speak to you again, still dead.